Hey everyone, welcome to my yoga channel. I'm Christine and this is day 1 of a year of yoga. For anyone that's inflexible like I am or who has any back injuries like I do, this channel is going to be amazing for you, and I really invite you to join me on this journey as we practice together. So let's take a deep breath in and exhale. Breathing in again as we bring our hands to heart center and set an intention for today. Bringing our hands above our head, taking them out wide as we exhale. Breathing in as we raise our hands above our head again, and exhale as we twist the body, taking our right hand to our left knee and left hand on the ground behind us. Breathing in and exhaling as we twist the other way. Holding for a couple of seconds. Coming back to center. Exhaling. Taking the gaze or the nose towards that back hand as we breathe in again, and twisting to the opposite side. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. We're going to create a little bit of heat now as we speed the movement up. Inhaling and twisting. Inhaling and exhaling. One last time. Exhale. Bringing it back to center, and arms coming down by our sides, just resting our hands on our knees. Let's place that right hand down, moving your right ear towards your right shoulder and walking your left fingertips out in the opposite direction, getting that nice neck stretch. And then crossing over to the other side, left hand planted down and the right fingers on the right hand walking out. You get that stretch in the other side of the neck. Coming back to center. And just leaning over, left arm over the head, getting a nice side stretch. Continue to breathe deeply, filling up your lungs. And then let's go over to the other side, right hand over the head. Breathing deeply. And then inhaling as we come back to center. And we're going to reach forward with our legs crossed. Arms can go as far forward as is comfortable for you. And you can place your head on your arms, cross them over, or maybe place your forehead on the floor in front of you. If you can't get your head all the way down to your arms or the floor, you're welcome to use a block to prop your head up, or maybe a blanket or a bolster. But never pushing past your limitations in your practice. Let's take some deep breaths here as we quiet the mind. Now we're going to walk our hands over to the left to get a nice side stretch. Coming back to center. And then walking the hands over to the right. Continue to breathe as we go through these movements. As we come back to center, slowly walking the hands in, and we're going to change our feet. So placing the other foot in front, breathing in, and then exhaling as we forward fold over our legs again. Breathing deeply. And just checking in with the body. Are there any sore spots, any tightness that you can send a little bit of extra love, and a little bit of extra oxygen to? Maybe seeing if you can forward fold a little bit deeper. And again, we're going to move over to the right side this time. Stretching that side. And then walking the hands to the center as we cross over to the left. And then coming back to center. And just taking your time to come back to the seated position. Breathing in and bringing heart, hands to heart. Just going to stretch the legs out, give them a little bit of a waddle. And now we're going to go into my favorite stretch. So taking the right leg over the left and tucking the left leg behind, breathing in as we bring the hands above us, and then forward folding and placing our head onto our knee. You can walk the hands out if you want to. Again, if you can't get into this position, just go as far as you can without overdoing it. And breathing deeply. Melting into this pose as you feel a beautiful stretch in your glute muscles. And then walking back up slowly in the seated position as we change over to the other side. Breathing in as we raise our hands above us, and then forward folding on the exhale. Placing our head on our knee again and just melting into this pose. Oh, feels so good. Continue to breathe. Relax and really acknowledge yourself for showing up today in your practice. Just one more breath in here. And then slowly coming back up. We're going to move on to all fours now as we roll through some cat-cows. If you haven't done cat-cows before, just make sure the wrist is underneath the shoulder as we curl our spine into the cat position and inhaling into the cow position, taking our gaze towards the ceiling, rolling each vertebrae as we go back into the cat position, and inhaling as we melt our stomach towards the floor. One last time, rolling into that cat position on the exhale and inhaling into cow position. Now we're just going to walk our hands out in front of us as we melt our chest towards the floor and placing our forehead onto the mat. You can use a bolster or a block if you need to. Just taking a couple of deep breaths in this position. Last deep breath. And then walking those hands back in underneath our shoulders as we head down into our child's pose, taking the knees wide as the mat, and then sinking the hips back over the feet and melting our chest and head and arms, grounding them down and feeling that energy from the earth connecting at all the contact points on our body. And again, just taking a moment to silence the mind or any thoughts that keep popping up. Just acknowledge them and move them along while you continue this practice. Coming back into the tabletop position, we're now going to stretch our right arm up and then thread it through, placing our right cheek onto the mat and then walking our left arm to the top of the mat as we get this beautiful twist in our body. You can even tuck that left arm behind the back into the little crack between the waist and the thigh. Whatever's comfortable for you. Bringing that left hand back next to the face and twisting up again. We're going to add a little bit of speed this time as we thread the needle, as they call it. Just making sure you're taking your gaze up towards the ceiling as you raise that right hand. And it's your choice. You can have the eyes opened or closed for this practice. And now we're going to do the opposite side. So taking that left arm up, threading it through the gap underneath the right arm, placing that left cheek onto the mat this time and walking the right hand forward to the top of the mat. You should feel a nice twist in the lower back. And again, you can take that left hand behind you and tucking it into that little crease between the waist and the thigh. And don't forget to breathe. Untucking that hand and bringing it down next to the face as we come back. Raising our left hand up and threading the needle through that gap. Breathing in and exhaling as we thread the arm through again. This time we're going to go for a narrow child's pose, so bringing the legs together. And this time the arms will run down by the side with our hands tucking at the back near our feet and our head melting onto the mat. If this position is a little bit uncomfortable or you can't get your bottom to your feet, you are welcome to use a bolster or a blanket or a block. Just pop it underneath your sit bones. Just exhaling as we come out of the child's pose. And now we're just going to do some hip rotations. And you can start small and you can build up to bigger and bigger juicy circles. And then we're going to go in the opposite direction. If this is not comfortable, then just stay in the tabletop position, or you can go back into your cat and cows. Now we're going into bird dog, so raising the left hand and the opposite leg, which is the right leg, going out nice and long, and then switching it over to the opposite side. Right arm long, left leg long. And continue to breathe, holding it for a few seconds. We really want to go for length here. We're not going for height, we're going for length. From the fingertips right through to the toes, feeling that energy shooting out of the fingertips and the toe tips. Now we're going to tuck our toes and go into our first downward dog. Let's just pedal out the feet, pedal out the legs. If you can get your heels to the ground, amazing. I'm not very flexible. I'm just dropping the head down so it feels a bit like a big heavy ball. And then we're going to bring our left leg up between our hands as we drop that back leg to the mat. We get a beautiful twist in the body here as we raise our left arm up towards the ceiling. And then we're just going to walk our foot out towards the side of the mat and then get a stretch through that pelvic floor area. You can use your hand to take the knee out, get a deeper stretch. We hold so much emotion in our pelvic floor, so we want to get a nice big juicy stretch through there. Coming back into our downward dog, you can pedal the feet. I love pedaling my feet in a downward dog, but you can hold it still if you like. Take a few more deep breaths before bringing our right leg up between our hands this time and placing our left knee on the ground. Raising our right arm straight up towards the ceiling, feeling that energy again shooting out of our fingertips before we bring it back to the earth and walking that right foot out to the side of the mat now. Getting that beautiful deep stretch through our legs and breathing oxygen to those nice tight muscles before we walk it back in and come back down into our downward dog position. Take a couple of deep breaths here. So we come into our Chaturanga, slowly coming down and tucking the toes as we come into cobra. Breathing in as we roll up, exhale as we come down, back down to the mat. Tucking the toes, coming into downward dog again, and then dropping our knees as we now come into the seated position. We're going to slowly roll backwards, vertebrae by vertebrae. And bringing the knees in towards the chest, giving them a nice hug. You can kiss each knee if you like and show some gratitude for these beautiful legs that carry you around all day. Just taking a moment to check in again. You might want to do some small circles if that feels good for you. Or you can go into happy baby. And now we're just going to go into our toe taps as we bend both legs up into like a reverse tabletop, I guess, without the arms. Just breathing through this motion. And then bringing both feet back to the mat and walking them out to the side of the mat as we do our windscreen wipers. And just getting a nice little twist in the lumbar area. And don't forget to continue to breathe. This time we're going to take our right leg long, bending the left knee over the right leg and then facing in the opposite direction. So we get a beautiful twist in our back. Breathing oxygen to that area. Take one last deep breath, hugging both knees up before changing over to the other side. So left leg long, right knee bends over the left leg, and we're taking our gaze and arm in the opposite direction. You can close your eyes down for this if you like. Taking one last deep breath, hugging the knees again, and then stretching our legs out long as we come into our final resting position of Savasana. Just making any final adjustments here. Just relaxing every part of our body as we take our final deep breaths. Before finding peace and serenity in this pose. Feeling connection with the earth from our heels as we relax our feet and our calves, our hamstrings, our glutes, relaxing our back, our spine, our shoulders, our biceps, triceps, forearms, and hands. Relaxing our neck, our head, and our face. Just giving yourself permission to be here in this moment. You've got nowhere to be. You've got nothing to do. Except just be here and now. Relax deeper and deeper. I'll let you know when you can come out of this blissful, relaxed state. If you'd like to stay in Savasana a little bit longer, please do. Otherwise, when you're ready, start wiggling the fingers and the toes, bringing awareness back into your body as you roll over into the fetal position, and just take a moment for yourself. And when you're ready, coming up into the seated position. And taking a deep breath in, just gently resting your hands on your knees as you check back in with your body, mind, and spirit. Breathing in as we raise our hands above our head, bringing them to our third eye and repeating after me. May I have kind and loving thoughts today. Bringing them to our lips, may I speak kind and loving words today. And then bringing it to our heart center, may I have kind and loving intentions today. Take a deep breath in. Namaste.